Some tasks might be boring, but if that task is only one element of the big exciting job that you do, then generally we kind of get on with it and do it. But if you find actually you can't find any beauty in the big job that you do, so not only is that task boring, but you don't even see the point because you don't really like your job, then actually it may be time to question, do I really want to be doing this particular career? And this can even happen with your degree. You can be looking at one task and maybe there is one element, and there often is, that you really dislike. That's normal, that's fine. But because you want to do the degree, because the degree is going to get you where you want to go, you stick with it and you just push through. And if it's that one element, then that's fine. But if you can't see the point, if you actually think, well, I can do it, but I really don't know why, and I don't even want to do that long term, then that's a very different question. We sometimes get so hung up on the task itself. I must do this task. And we don't think, actually, where does this task feature in the big picture? And do I really want to be in that big picture? Hence why I ask you always to think about, what is my goal? And even if, and so now we bring it down even more, if you are in a degree and you are not enjoying the possible career paths open to you on that degree. So for example, teaching, I did a teaching degree. I explored other options, but still used my teaching skills. And that's something that's open to you. Just because you're studying accountancy doesn't mean you have to be an accountant for a company. You can be a consultant, or you can work on your own. And that, the overall things that go around that particular job, that particular focus, they might be more exciting and more pleasurable. So they might motivate you more. Perfectionism is something where I would always say to you, even if you got it perfect for your standards. So I don't think you would, because being a perfectionist, you probably wouldn't. You'll always think, oh, there's extra stuff that I could do. Even if you got it perfect for your standards, I will guarantee you it will not be perfect to anybody else's. Why? Because perfectionism is subjective. It is your idea of what perfection is. For one person, perfection might be a bubble bath. For another, they might think there's nothing worse than that. And so when it comes to perfectionism, the advice I would give, or the way I'd like you to reframe your thinking, is to strive for excellence rather than perfection. And when you strive for excellence, it's not simply about excellence in the task itself. It's excellence with all of the other things that surround that task. So that means handing the task in on time, having it beautifully presented, having it well researched, doing it with a smile on your face. I know that sounds really silly, but certainly as a lecturer, when I used to do a lot of marking, there was nothing worse for me than actually having to chase students, especially bright ones who I knew would hand in a marvelous piece of work when they actually got round to doing it. But it used to frustrate me. And even though that student works really well and their written work is outstanding, I would still have that question mark of, I've had so much hassle trying to get that one piece of work in. Do I really want to hire this person? Would I really want to work with them? Because they just cause me aggro. It's the overall elements that make up that one task, not just the task itself, that bring about excellence. So consider that. And again, think about how you want to be seen. It's all very well doing a perfect piece of work, but if it's a pain getting that work out of you, then how does that look to potential bosses, managers, and so on? Not knowing what to do, well, that's where I always say, ask, always ask, reach out. And just because someone knocks you back, so you've reached out, someone's knocked you back, doesn't mean it will happen again unless you ask the same person in the same way. I always say I'm more than happy to answer questions, but I would prefer it, because I'm busy myself, if you ask me the question with enough information so I know what it is you want from me. And that's lovely, and I'm really grateful to get that. And that also, again, gives a lovely impression of you, which is nice. Feeling overwhelmed. Now, remember from last week, feelings of anxiety, feelings of fear, which all go into being overwhelmed, all of that is simply your petrol warning light. It's just telling you there's something going on here, but it's up to you to choose your behavior. Always remember that when it comes to life, this is a nice quote. I don't know who it's by, I'm afraid, but somebody said, life is often 10% what happens to you and 90% how you choose to respond. And most importantly are the words choose, that you can choose, you take the action, you're proactive about it, and respond, not react. Reaction is instinctive. It's a reflex almost. It's emotions are instinctive as well. And so when you're feeling those emotions and they lead you to simply instinctively react, you could end up causing more problems for yourself further down the line. So the wiser thing to do is know that things do happen. Difficulties do come our way. Life does get tough. But always think that, first of all, even if I can't control anything else, I can control my breathing. But also, I can choose my response. I may be feeling fear, I may be feeling anxiety, and either I can just let it ride and let it get worse and worse and worse, or I can choose to do something about it. And that's why, again, you need to know all the things you can choose to do. And that's known as having a crisis pack. A crisis pack is a really lovely tip, actually, and I have one, but not necessarily for time management because I'm pretty on top of managing my time. But I have one for stress. And my crisis pack consists of one major thing, and that is a fan, a handheld fan. Because when I get frustrated or angry, my temperature starts rising, and I need to use the fan just to cool down. And once I can do that, that helps me. And the second thing is I have a key ring, which is very soft and fluffy because I like the texture of something soft and fluffy. So that just calms me anyway. But a crisis pack might be as simple as making sure you have an Uber number on your phone if you're going out for the night so you can actually get home. It might be knowing who to call when you really need help. Your crisis pack will just help you in the situations where you know you might need some help. And that can play a huge part in not being overwhelmed because you can choose the response. And with being wrong before, well, okay, yes, maybe you have been. If somebody has been nasty about you being wrong, that's a shame. And I'm sad to hear that whenever that happens. But that's often much more about that person than it is about you. So again, put that into perspective.